Hey guys, it's Shout Out here. I have been looking for a guide on how to make a decent and simplistic Twitch overlay. Because I have not been able to find one, I decided to do some research and create my own guide. This guide is for Photoshop and I am using Creative Cloud 2015, which you can get a free trial of at Adobe. Okay guys, right here I have the finished product of what I want to make today for this guide. Uh, as you can see, this overlay is very simplistic. It is very small. It does not have, many bells and whistles. It does have a Twitter logo and showing where my Twitter is as well as my username and enough space to add things for such as new followers and donators and whatnot. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is go to File, click New. Under Document Type, you want to select Film and Video. For size, you want to select HDV, HDTV 720p, and that'll give you your base size. For most newer Twitch streamers and even ones who are not partnered yet, your video is going to actually be in 720p, so this works perfectly. This size works well. If you become partnered, you can make a new one and change it to 1080p, and that should work just as fine for you with the quality that you're getting. This should look pretty high quality inside of the stream. There shouldn't be any issues with the size. Next thing you want to look at is the background contents. You want to change that from white to transparent. If you do not, you will not be able to actually use it as an overlay. There will be a white background, which is obviously an issue because you can't actually play your video over that. Or put your camera, if you have a green screen, it'll just turn into an issue. Alright, so click OK, and as you see, you have a blank canvas here. You're going to want to make a new layer, and then what I would do is I would actually use the gradient tool with two different style of grays, just so it's a little easier to see, just as a small background. So when you made the new template, it came with these guidelines, and these lines are what you're going to be using to, obviously guide what you're making. This one came with, 4 vertically and 4 horizontally, and we're not actually going to use the 2 at the bottom, so we can move those out of the way, but we are going to use everything else. I found a good size was to set this at about 25 pixels. Let's go ahead and zoom into 200 here. So we set this at about 25 pixels, which gives it quite a bit of space. We can go ahead and move this out of the way for now. Actually, let's set this at 35, just 10 more down. So we have now 2 guidelines which will make up kind of the base of what we're doing. We are going to go ahead and grab the select tool, which is the second tool in your sidebar, and we're going to drag it along the first guide. Actually, drag it along the second guide. That'll be the background. We can make a new layer. And then what we want to do is we just want to make it a color. Fill it with a color. I'm going to fill it with a darker gray. Alright, so that is officially the background of what we're using. Let's go ahead and make another new layer. And we're going to use the select tool again, but this time we're going to go along the first set of guides. And then we're going to find a lighter gray, and we're going to fill that in. These are just the colors I'm using. You kind of want to use something that matches up, that does not look bad together, because later on these two things will actually be about the same in this guide at least. Alright, so we're going to deselect that. Next we want to move the other guidelines. I found about let's go ahead and set a middle first, actually, which should be about 640. It should just snap into place. And then from 640, we can go ahead and move along. We're going to go 90 towards 0, which I believe is 550. You're going to want to set up the other guide at about 730, and then you want to set up 2 more guides going vertically, 20 from the inside of both of those, 20 pixels from the inside of both of those. And then horizontally, you want to set up another one at exact 0 horizontally, which makes the pen tool catch. Alright, so we're going to create a new layer so we can start working with the pen tool. So go ahead and click create a new layer, and from there you're going to want to click on the corners of the guidelines that you created earlier. Start at 0 and 550, and then move down to the second horizontal guideline, and then go all the way across horizontally, and then back up to 730 and 0. And then you want to connect both of those, and then you want to hit make selection, which is up here in the top left. You don't want to feather it or anything like that. Just go ahead and make a selection, and come down to your fill bucket and pick a color that you'd like. I chose red because it kind of goes with the theme of my channel that I've been doing for a while, and click fill. And then deselect and kind of look at your work. It looks pretty even, it doesn't look bad, and that's good. I like that. The next thing that I did is I added some layer styles to the background and the foreground of the bar that goes horizontally across. So that for me is layer 3, and you just want to double click it. It should pop up what you need to do so. There we go. And what you're going to use is inner shadow, drop shadow, and gradient overlay. So let's look at inner shadow. I'm going to have that set to distance of 5 pixels, choke of 0%, and the size of 5 pixels. And we're just going to keep that what it is right now, maybe lower the opacity a little later. And then for gradient overlay, we can use the colors we have now. I actually kind of like them, but we can go ahead and make that a little different. Set that up. That should look a lot better on the top one. And then drop shadow should be about a distance of 1 and a pixel of 2. So all that stuff looks pretty good. And then once that is done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to right click on that layer and hit copy layer style, and then we're going to go to the layer above it, which is the foreground of what we're working on, and we're going to hit paste. So now it's kind of set up like that. We can go ahead and actually don't get rid of the guides yet. The next thing we're going to do is the guides for the inner part of what I was working on earlier. And we kind of want to do 5 pixels in from where we were at. So 555 for the guide now. And then the one from that is 575. And on the other side is 525. And you can just hold shift and it should go by 5s. And then 705. And even the bottom one goes down 5 pixels. Cool. We want to grab the pen. We want to make a new layer first, actually. Before we grab the pen tool, make a new layer and just kind of do the whole tracing the outline thing again. And make a selection just like we did before. And this time I want to fill it with the same color we're using as the background and go ahead and give it the same layer style. Um, how I got my text the way it is, it's also the same thing I used for the Twitter logo. Is I went to text and I chose horizontal type masks tool. So you click on that and red pops up. You might want to zoom in. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm using the font Impact Regular, and I just type my name. I like how blocky it is, which is why I'm using it. You're free to use any font that you want. I feel like this one works for it. Um, Go ahead and make it to the side to a bigger size that kind of fits in how you want to do it or how you want it to look. It's completely up to you. Let's see. I have that about center. I might want to go a little bigger. That's too big. Alright, so I have that set at a 35. And what's cool is that makes its own selection of the font. So on this foreground triangle that we just made, um, you'll see how we have the letters Ashataha over it, because this is me making this. That's my name. You're free to use yours. We have the selection. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we're on the correct layer. Go ahead and click it a few times. I want this gray layer up here at the top. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to go down to the far right corner, bottom corner, and I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to click Add Layer Mask. And that cuts it out, which I really like. From there, I kind of wanted to do some things with the red underneath. So if you hit Control T, which is transform, we can actually move that up. And we can make different like designs of what we're doing here. You can hold Alt and make it go, make both sides, top and bottom, go in. I think I might do that actually, which is how I had it before. And then you can also add some things to make it look pretty cool. One thing you can add above the red layer that is under Shadaha, that is under the name, you want to add a new layer after you click off screen to get rid of transform. Add a new layer, grab your paintbrush tool, hold Alt, and then right click on it and bring it in just a tad bit. And then just click somewhere because it should, make it look cool. I don't know if I like that. And since that is its own layer, it's going to show through the whole thing, through the stream and everything. So what you want to do is go to Create Clipping Mask, and that's just going to be on the red layer. And I set this to an overlay, I believe. Yeah, I believe an overlay. You can set it to whatever you want or use whatever colors you want, like I said. I'm going to set it to screen for this time. I'm going to lower the opacity down to about 50, just to give it kind of a cool, misty look. So we can go ahead and get rid of our guides and zoom out, and there you go. You have a simple Twitch overlay. You have more room to add more stuff and use whatever colors you want. You can try different designs as far as your name goes or however you want it set up. The next thing you want to do after that is you want to go ahead and click on the eye on the background layer that you did with the gray gradient to make sure that it no longer has a background taking up the whole screen. So you want it to be transparent. You want to be able to see the gray and white dots that are, or squares that are on the back of the screen. If you wanted to add anything else, you should feel free to. This is your design. This is you making it. So why not add whatever else you want on the top layers here. You can even add a bottom bar for music and whatever you want to add. Okay, after that, make sure you save your work. Save your work, save it under something, and then to export it, to be able to use it with OBS or XSplit, you want to click File, go to Export, and just use the quick export as PNG. It has to be a PNG, otherwise it will not be transparent. And so quick export as PNG, and save, and now you have your overlay. Alright guys, I am just going to show you how to set it up in OBS real quick, just in case you're a new streamer looking to, get a start with a professional look and you don't quite know how to use OBS. I prefer OBS over XSplit due to some frame and lag issues, but it should be about the same way to set it up in anything that you use. First, you want to go to Add. Well, you want to preview the stream first, so make sure you click Start Preview, and then under Sources, go to Add Image. I'm not going to name it, but you should, just so you know where it's at. Browse, and then find the image that you made. Hopefully you put it in a location you can find it in, and open. You don't really need to change any of these settings, just click OK. But you're going to want to hit Edit Scene down here, and it'll give you a red box which the image is in, and you want to drag that to the corner, and that should snap right into place. And there you go. That's how you make and put up a Twitch overlay. Guys, thank you so much for watching my video. This is my first ever YouTube tutorial I have ever put out, and so there's little kinks that need to be worked out. But if you would like, share, and subscribe to my channel, I would be appreciative. Currently, I do stream on Twitch, and you can find all my information at twitch.tv/Ishadaha, ISHADAHA, right up here. And come check me out sometime. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, leave a comment, or come talk to me in stream. I'd be willing and happy to answer any questions that you have.